Hey guys, it's Lainey, and today I'm filming my January wrap-up video. I completed a total of 9 books, and I started 2 others. This has been an incredible reading month for me. I don't think I've ever read this much in a month, ever. Let's get started on the books I read for January 2014. The first book I read was The Selection by Kira Cass. I will be filming a review on this book as well as The Elite. I just haven't yet. I'm sorry guys. I rated The Selection a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It is very cutesy, and it does deal with a love triangle, but it was just something I was really in the mood to read, and I really enjoyed the story, and I read it very quickly. And the second book I read was immediately after The Selection, which was The Elite by Kira Cass as well. I still did rate this book a 4 out of 5 because I did finish it very quickly, even though I do have some issues with it that I'll address in my review when I film it. Mainly, what everybody else has been saying is that America gets very frustrating in this book. As I was looking back, seeing that I read these 2, I got really excited for the third book, the one that comes out in May, and I thought, why is this coming out in May? Why isn't it coming out sooner? Overall, I really do like the series, and I'm very curious to see how the story is going to end. The next book I read for the Read Your Bookshelf-a-thon, hosted by Miranda and Gary, which was awesome, by the way. And the first one wasn't exactly on my bookshelf, but I counted it anyway since I was reading it during that week, and that was my favorite book of the year. It's going to take a lot from whatever book I'm now going to be reading. It's going to take a lot to match this. This was beautiful. Epic conclusion to the trilogy of crack cocaine, heroin, and now crystal meth. I read this at the beginning of January, and my heart still can't form words and to just describe and review this book, but I am doing a live show with some of my booktube friends, and we're going to discuss this book more thoroughly, so if you are interested in watching that, then definitely read the first 3 books. So yeah, 5 out of 5, clearly. The next book I read after that was The Forsaken by Lisa M. Stas. I rated it a 2 out of 5. It had so much potential, but it just fell so extremely flat for me with characters I couldn't connect with the romance of the story was not even believable. It just could have been a lot better. I'll probably read the second book to see what happens to the actual story and the world, but I'm in like absolutely no rush to read it. Then the next book I read after that was The Pledge by Kimberly Durding. I really enjoyed this book, and I rated it a 4 out of 5. It is a fantasy, light fantasy, kind of paranormal, but it involves queendoms, which is like kingdoms, but they're ruled by women. You're separated into society based on what language you speak, but we follow a girl named Charlie who understands every language, which is a very dangerous thing to have in this world. Then after that book I read Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I love this book. It's a 4 out of 5. I was not expecting it to like it as much as I did. I never knew what was going to go on. It was a story that you pretty much experienced page by page instead of knowing kind of the overall what was going to actually be happening in the story. It was a very successful read-along because this was the book for my read-along this month, and I want to thank everybody who participated in that. So then the next book I read was on my Kindle, and that book was Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. You know, the reason why I put it off so much was that people are like, it gets better, which is the same reason why I have put off reading City of Bones as well, because people say the first book is but it keeps getting better throughout the overall series, and that's what people were saying about Vampire Academy. Well, I thought the first book was amazing and really introduced us to the series and the world and the characters. I didn't think it was bad at all. I gave it a 5 out of 5, and I don't really give 5 out of 5s a lot out. I have to really love the book, and I really loved Vampire Academy. So then the second book I read immediately after Vampire Academy was Frostbite, which is the second book in the Vampire Academy series. I equally love this book just as much. I'm really digging Adrian. I really like him because he's kind of like messed up a lot. I mean, overall, I really like Dimitri and Rose, star-crossed lovers. And Christian, I really like Christian and Lissa, who I keep saying Lisa in the book, but I know it's Lissa, and I keep having to recorrect myself every time I'm reading it. I really want to see the movie, and I won't, because I keep mentioning it to my roommates, you guys, and they keep laughing at me. It's gonna have to be a Redbox thing. And the last book I completed in January was Fugitive X by Greg Grossenblum. I loved this book. It's super short, just as the first one was. I mentioned this in my really quick review on Goodreads, that it pretty much reminds me of like a television show arc. And I think the author has experience in television writing, so then I was able to like make the connection a lot. He writes like it's a TV show versus like writing it like it's a movie. I liked where the characters went, and it follows right after the events of Revolution 19 left off. Guys, read this book if you like science fiction, dystopian YA. So then the two books I wasn't able to complete in January. One of them was Independent Study by Joelle Charbonneau. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm enjoying it more than I enjoyed the testing. I'm not that far in it, but I really like how the story is being set up right now. The direction the story is going is also pretty good. It's distancing itself from the Hunger Games kind of feel that I felt like it had too much of in the first book. So I'm really enjoying the second book, as I thought I would, now that the testing part is over and now it's moving on to the next part of the story. And the second book I'm reading right now that I didn't finish in time for January is Shadow Kiss by Rochelle Mead, which is the third book in the Vampire Academy series. I'm really digging it so far. There's just something about this series that I just like really love, and I think it has to do with being Rose, because if there's any Buffy fans out there, she reminds me of like a Buffy and Faith hybrid. Like, she has the quirky remarks and quips and tongue like Buffy does, but when I'm picturing her, well, I'm picturing Zoe Deutsch, but I also like physically feel like she's Faith in physical form, like when she was younger. I'm really enjoying this book. I really like Rose. I think her voice is very good to tell this kind of story. So that is it for my January wrap-up. My favorite book I read this month was obviously Into the Still Blue by Veronica Rossi. I want to reread this trilogy again. Like, that's how much I love it. I want to fall in love with it all over again and just like marathon it. What were some of your favorite books you read this month? I want to know. And I will see you guys later. Bye!